My friends, it's been a minute, but we back up in it. The noble attempt, live and direct. Actually, it's not, but what you expect. I'm building a business, striving to thrive, raising my girls, and living my life. You know what it is. This is the noble attempt, and this week I welcome my good brother Zue Cheng Cooper, aka Hemhotep, aka Changsky, your wifey's favorite carpenter. Join us as we discuss AI, the future of society, and a couple predictions on how it's all gonna play out. Tune in, subscribe to the YouTube and all of that, but most of all, stay sharp and live the life you yourself actually want. Jah Bless.
So if they figured out a way that you could live for like 300 years or more, would you do it?
Well, depends what the way is. So check this though, because they're talking about if you took somebody say they're cause, so what they say is we're who we are, like what is the spirit, right? Who we are is based off of our community, our experiences, our day-to-day life, right? So imagine if they had the neural mapping technology, which they on the verge of having, where they can trace different experiences based on different electronic pulses in your brain, right? Different neurons firing off. Say this region in the hippocampus mixed with this region in the frontal lobe says that this experience happened or whatever, right? So then you take that information of these different emotions and experience dictate what a person is or who they are, and then you combine that with say something of some sort of AI technology that can continue to project the next choices and decisions that you make, because that's also been recorded, right? Everything we Googled, our intellectual property, right? Or what is it? Our intellectual data property is what it is. So that's everywhere we traveled via our cell phone, right? Because that's a tracking device. Everything we bought via our debit cards, every phone call we made, and then even our network of people that our cell phones ping off of, the cell phone towers ping off of, right? Kind of says who we are. You know, 5 ex-felons. You know, 2 prostitutes. You might be this type of guy or whatever.
That's the map of your house.
All that being said, you combine that together, right? And then say you're able to implant somebody's memories and their neural mapping into a computer data, some sort of computer process that projects that uses AI to project your next decisions, your next choices in life you would make, the next things you might say and shit. So then technically that's that person, right? So then that person could live forever. So then, like, would you want, say, your spouse to do that? Or, would you want to live that forever? But is that even you anymore? Or is it just a replication of you? It's your essence because it's the experiences you had, it's, the places you went. 300 years, that could be a thing. They're talking about, maybe you have like Alexa. Imagine if Alexa was one of the dead homies. So you could always talk to the dead homie because they got this new program, AI program that all it needs is 3 seconds of somebody talking, and it can duplicate all the way down to their laughter just off of hearing 3 seconds. So if you imagine you have your homie talk, and, he signed up for the program or whatever, his voice record. Next thing you know, you got the dead homie as Alexa, you know, in your living room. Or maybe you even have a loved one that has a terminal illness, and you're like, I'm not ready for them to go. And they're like, I'm not ready to leave you. But then I can always be with you by, putting an Alexa in an urn, a little cremation urn, and then they always there with them.
How complete is that? Because, like, okay, got your decisions and your style, but, like, what's missing? What can it not capture? Or is it complete?
That's not all the way there yet. No, no, no. The neuron mapping isn't all the way there. I found out about the whole neuron mapping because they were doing it for like dream investigating, kind of. It was like seeing if we can map people's dreams or like record dreams, if you could imagine, right? But the combination of things, no, I think, the advancement in technology, who's to say? Maybe it could happen within the next 50 years of you have some sort of hologram, Alexa type thing where your dead homie pops up or whatever, or you have some sort of little Osmo type robot that is a Honda robot that they made. But, it's a robot straight up, looks like a robot, but it's the personality of whoever and in the voice of whoever.
Yeah, I mean that's what I want to talk to you about. I'm just curious more about your perspective on AI because a lot of people's like scared of it. Like I just been hearing different people just feeling worried about all the things coming up, and
I mean, people were scared of the internet, right? During the Industrial Revolution, there was the uptick in schizophrenic based around robots and electronic devices and whatnot because they weren't used to that sort of thing. So there was this almost irrational fear, if you will, that people would have because there's this new element to their life, right? They haven't seen things so mechanically made before, haven't seen things so far removed from its raw element, you know, metals being redefined and manipulated for certain structures and different institutions and vehicles and all that shit.
they just start bugging out like they're bending metal. Like fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I haven't seen this. This is witchcraft.
Yeah.
So then you go to, the radio era, right? Where we made the switch to, say, TV receivers, right? Went from TVs or radios to TVs. And then so you had a lot of people who were afraid of the TV and film, right? I mean, early 20th century, people were really afraid of films, and it was like that's the devil, that's the witchcraft. There's a moving person in this box, so there's always going to be a pullback from evolution of man, if you will, the unknown, right? We always fear the unknown, and right now we're entering the age of AI, if you will, and there's a lot of unknown, right? We don't know some of the morals that are going to fall behind it because some of those morals are even parallel to our own where we don't even know, right? Say you're driving a school bus and there's a family walking across the street and your brakes go out. Now, do you divert and save the family and crash off the bridge and all the kids in the school bus die, including you? Or do you kill the family because your brakes don't go off and you save all the kids on the school bus? Now, we're asking AI those same questions, right? Well, we don't even as a society necessarily have those moral understanding yet, So there's always going to be this kind of fear and this new sort of dilemma that we're facing.
Yeah. I mean, the quote that always comes to me is there's nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean? So it's like this is just like some iteration of the same thing. It just looks different. It's on a different tool. And we're still all excited that we have smartphones and these new things, but it's not anything new really. But it seems like that to the untrained mind. It could seem overwhelming. What are you playing with? Are you playing with any of the AI? Have you experimented with it?
No, just a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of Chat GPT. I'm trying to use it. So, I mean, it's been out there for a while, right? Like, you think about big hedge funders and stockbrokers, right? They'll use some sort of AI to predict the trends in the market so then they can make their plays, right? And that's huge stuff too, right? That's huge. Like Goldman Sachs, I think they have, they use AI stock analysis and whatnot that help them follow trends and patterns and figure out which stock is going to drop, which one's going to buy. And that is a whole thing and a can of worms in itself. And there's also error within AI too, right? But I mean, they say that's a kind of an engineering problem that they could figure out. As in a sense that I say error is where AI will make up a fact that may not even be true in a sense. It's pulling from a database of information and then it's projecting response to said question or whatever. So yeah, I use it loosely for breaking down, for saving time in reading, right? So I'll see like a long Yahoo economy article about Tesla or something, right? 3 pages deep. I'm like, I want to know what this information is, but I ain't trying to sit here and fucking break this down and some of the language and I don't necessarily know all the abbreviations. I'm not that heavily invested in it, but I'm trying to get my foot in the door of say day trading, if you will. And I've realized that is a tool, just like Google is a tool, because you can Google, should I buy Tesla stock? But it's not going to necessarily give you a finite answer. It's going to pull from somebody else's that already said that, right? That responded to that question. So yeah, I'll plug in like a 3-page article or something like that, or something that I want to read. and I'll tell it to break it down in layman's terms and say 10 bullet points. Explain this article to me like I'm a 10-year-old.
And it
And
does.
it'll do that.
Yeah.
It does it.
I mean, man, like I'm noticing like people that aren't like at least playing. Like if you don't want to play with it because you're doing other things in your life, like I get it and that's cool. But I think like being open to like it's a tool to get ahead, and so obviously the you know the big wigs is always on top of it, so they're gonna use it to their advantage, and they probably got early access, and you know it's more advanced than what they're giving us. You know they're giving us the whatever trial version to get more data from us, but that's fine. I'm gonna play with it as much as possible while it's public.
Right. Right.
And then there's always someone else too. I like the aspect that like regardless of that, there's always so many smart like coders and internet cats who like are with the people. So like
Yeah.
there's always gonna be something surfacing that's still for us. You know what I mean? That's still like we're gonna keep up.
Right. And I guess that's kind of the fear of it is like because the AI, I guess it's so groundbreaking because like I was saying, you know, there's been AI used in commercial format before and in private sectors, but very specifically tailored for a certain market, right? This is groundbreaking because it's open chat, right? Where it's involved in everything, every data that's out there, right? Versus, say, the stock AI is probably just focused on a certain, you know, avenue of industries, if you will. Or, say, Alexa or something like that is pulled from just this finite database because there's facts out there. There's just raw facts out there in life, right? But if you question or you ask the question the wrong way, it's going to give you the wrong answer. And so they're kind of trying to figure out how to finite that. And there's this program called Wolfram Alpha. They're like science-based data sort of. You know, they deal with like a lot of. You can ask it like math equations and formulas, and it'll break it down in a graph, you know, an equation and fraction format and decimal format, all that.
Right. Have you applied it yet? Because you do something that's very human, which is like you know carpentry as a trade.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found any ways, or is there ways in that industry that AI is being used?
Probably I could see it in some of the design and some of the architect. But see, I mean, it can be used on every format of it, though, right? Because you could go AI, write me a bid for a kitchen remodel of 500 square foot home,
Yep.
and then boom, or a 500 square foot kitchen, you know, or whatever it be, you know, AI or open chat, you know, write me a receipt or a material list for shower retiling, and then it'll go boo 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 boo, right? And then so that's on say the contractor side of things, and then you can have it even on the customer side of things of them using it, right? And be like, I asked this AI. I mean, that's probably what we'll get to, you know.
Yeah.
And they said the bid should be this
Yeah.
much. Right? Or you could be like, AI, find me the nearest, you know, compare prices with the 5 nearest lumber yards around me, right? And it's going to pull its resources, boom, boom, boom. It's going to give you a list of the 5. You can't ask Google that, right? You can't be like, Google, oh, what are the 5 competitive lumber yards in a 20-mile radius of me and list them pricing from highest to lowest. You can't ask Google that. There will be no answer.
No. It's gonna be fragmented. You'll get like some locations, some random numbers.
Exactly, right. You get references to the words you typed in, but nothing that correlated them all together.
Yeah.
So that's that's a huge difference. So yeah, it can be applicable in everything. That's the thing about it, right? I just haven't done that because I haven't felt the need to, but or maybe I haven't even had the thought of I have this ability to do that. There's a tool out there that I could, because we invent tools because it's like, man, how can I turn this? How can I hammer this nail in? I could use a stick. But man, did you know that there's a tool out there that you could use to, of the perfect tool for the perfect job, perfect resource?
I mean, I asked ChatGPT, I proposed a bid for someone for some production.
Yeah.
And, spent this time, prepared the bid, this and that. And from the consultation, the dude was interested. But then when I proposed the bid, not interested. And I'm like, Chat GPT, I'm like, all right, give me like a comeback to a rejected proposal.
Mm-hmm. That's hilarious.
To then, I forgot the wording, but I used some specific wording. I'm like, for a rejected proposal for this specific type of person, and to get to da. And I'm not gonna copy paste it word for word in the email, but it gave me some good ideas of questions that might be useful. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
yeah. So I was like, just to get the brain flowing. Like, I'm not trying to do all the work myself. I got other shit to do. So if it's helpful, I'm like, I'm gonna use it.
Right. That's the thing. It's like, how can I cut my workload down by using this application, right?
That's it. I value my time. So if Chat GPT is gonna give me a few,
That's it. Right. And a lot of people have never even been able to have that forethought in life of, how can I cut my work down? Sure, you may think, all right, I got to go move these 12 pieces of logs. I got to move these 12 logs, right? You're like, what's the easiest way I could do this? Probably have someone else do it for you, right?
You're trying to save your back in the long term.
Some people won't have that forethought though. But see, some people won't have that forethought of I could find someone else to do this work for me of the job that I need to get done, right? So if you don't have that forethought, you're not even going to think to. That's what I'm saying. I would have. It never even really crossed my mind in some aspects. Like, oh, I could ask Chat GPT about these questions I just mentioned. Related to my field of work of coming up with a bid or contracting and it can't perform the task for you, but it can tell you how you can best possibly do the task. Now, eventually, they'll figure out how to, I don't know, use this on a mechanical scale of things, right? When you combine mechanics with the AI, autonomous cars, trucks, drones, autonomous drones, that are ran off of AI. So then that's it. That's when people get scared of like, oh man, they're gonna steal jobs. They're gonna take away. They're gonna have.
To be fair, bro, like I went to Manila, bro. I was in the city, and I definitely just looking around, and I started getting more into the AI. I started playing with Mid-Journey, this image generator, and you just see it's like open streaming. So like you see everybody practicing their prompts, and you see the images that come up. So it's just like this constant streaming of people playing with this AI, and I just started getting more into like realizing where we're at with it and what's kind of going on with humans right now.
Yeah.
And I'm positive about it. I feel like it's great. Mainly because I'm like, this is a pool of all of our data. You know what I mean? They've been mining our data, so it's pretty close to like internet collection of the collective conscious. You know what I mean? It's like it is. It's us all wrapped up in a program. So it's not like people's like, that's not art or that's not this. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's pulled from art. It's just more efficient. So if I can make a song, I used AI to make some songs. The first song I made on AI made me cry. It was fire. It was fire. And it's not like I didn't have nothing to do with it.
How did you make a song on AI?
There's a program you can put in some influences, some moods, some BPMs, genres, and just kind of play with it, tinker around, and it'll spit out some compositions for you. And I got 3 compositions spit out, and the first one I listened to was just like, this is a banger, bro. It's beautiful. I put it on the intro of this. It's heat. So I'm like, hold on, man. I'm not gonna be in the boat of like, this is not art and this is whatever, scary or this and that. It's like it's human. It's human. It's a human expression, so much. And the more it gets accurate with like mapping, like you said, brain mapping and understanding human emotion, it's just as real. I do think so. Back to like, okay, so I'm in the city and I do see it like, okay, it is gonna get weird, in my opinion. It's gonna start to get weirder as more of this stuff becomes mainstream, as they start doing a little more invasive stuff with it. Because mostly, like, a lot of people in power is gonna use it for consumption and control. So I think it is gonna get a little weird, especially in the city.
Yeah.
So I'm finding value in like, I'm playing with it. I'm gonna play with it. I'm gonna learn some tools. I'm gonna dip in the city and do city stuff, but I'm out here building like on some like, not doomsday, but like just like I want to still have skills that are hands-on, because I think if not in my lifetime, maybe in Lumen's lifetime or the next, that the people who thrive on planet Earth are going to be the ones with real life skills, like real deal, like building things and planting things. Like there's going to be a time where if you want to have like what I think is like a complete human experience, you're going to need to be out of the city and doing those old human things.
Yeah. I feel you on that. So it's like you saying, you feel like it's the closest to almost like a collective consciousness. So I'll build on that. Imagine in the future, right? And I believe this may happen. It's most likely this will happen, right? So this AI technology keeps going, right? Maybe somehow it gets indoctrinated in augmented reality, right? That's when you got glasses and the screen can come up, but you still see shit or whatever. And so you have an advantage in life where you can have subtitles if someone's speaking a foreign language. You can work. You have instant, calculations, telling the distance, well versed in every field
Mm.
possible because you have, say, this program to your disposal. And so it'll be integrated eventually, I feel like, into us, what is it, bionically, say via contact lens or something like that, right? So the norm, right, would be to have everyone has cell phones and you have access to the internet and everything like that. This is the path we're going on technology. And then then the further norm would be like 3D or augmented reality and AI, right? It's like, wow, now we have this next level of technology. And then further into that, where it goes, where it's integrated with, humanity, with humans, it's integrated with us biologically. So then that'd be something, say, like contacts or a scanner chip that people have or classes and shit like that. Eventually, I feel like there would be a separation of people who are with having, say, this implant in you that gives you super advantage and people that don't. On some like children of the men type shit, like the dude in the forest where, there'd be like rebels out.
I mean, I really think that's like where it's going. And I think there's going to be a lot of manipulation that makes it super mainstream that a lot of people will feel like they don't have a choice. You know what I mean? Same with the vaccine. It's like, well, you don't have to do it.
Yeah, exactly. But you won't even be able to compete with any job, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. You don't have to, but if you want to live like this, if you want to have a job or if you want this or that luxury, then of course you're going to get it. It will be no question.
Because you have the upper hand advantage. Because it was when it would first come on, not everyone, of course, isn't going to instantly jump on, but people are going to jump on and figure out how to use the technology, and they're going to be ahead of people that aren't using the technology. And then eventually, that gap is going to grow so far apart.
Wow. Ahead is questionable.
It is though. I mean, you think about somebody who's trying to that doesn't use technology, say being a mailman versus somebody who does have technology and is a mailman.
No, for the vast majority of people, yeah, it will be an advantage. But I'm like, for me, I'm gonna be the rogue, who's like, when I'm in the city, I'm like ducking through, like, yeah, I'm not in the same reality as you, but I'm in here to get a few resources and dip back out to my farm. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I think I'm excited about it. It's almost cooler. It even makes you like more grateful. I mean, and again, it's nothing new under the sun. Same thing. So I think it's still going to be the same kind of percentage, like the 5% theory. It's still going to be the same where this certain amount of people's fully sheeped up. Some people's choosing to make their own moves. I just think it's going to look weirder when like I imagine these like internet cafes, but they're like VR cafes where people are going to work and they're just plugged in. And they've created like, intravenous like sustenance to keep your body going. So you're getting fed so you don't have to leave.
Right.
My mom's telling me about, a client she works with and their kid is like hooked on the VR shit, like does not want to leave. You know what I mean? Like does not want to leave that world. So he's building all these skills and he's addicted. I'm like, well, first of all, parents probably fucked up way back down the line, letting that kid get that far into it. But regardless, it's at the point where like this mom is like concerned like that her kid's not gonna eat if she don't just put the food there and like it's next level. He prefers being in there. And I'm like, well, imagine in there, out here, he's just a normal kid, normal stuff, probably got some insecurities, got some this. In there, he can build anything. He could be anyone. So like for a lot of people, that's gonna be really desirable. Like that's better than life. Like life sucks for most people.
It's because it's an escape, right? Exactly. So it'd be like an ideal escape.
And that's where it's like, okay, and then there becomes so much, for example, this kid, like the developers want this kid in there like that, all right? He's giving them money. I'm sure they charge for extra building blocks or whatever. I don't know what he's playing or what he's doing, but So it becomes the market, right? An economy within there. So eventually you're gonna have workers in there, right? So like whatever, the kid's dad might be like, well shit, I gotta go get a job in the VR, you know what I mean? The meta world, because that's where it's at. So instead of getting on the bus, or getting in his car and going to work, he just sits down on his little lazy boy, puts his goggles on and goes to work.
Right.
Right? After work, takes the goggles off, he's back. Eventually it's gonna make sense. Like, well, why do I keep coming back and forth? I might as well just bring my family in there too.
Mm-hmm.
So at what age can my baby, thrive or at least function in the VR world, and just start bringing the whole fam in there and creating your little world in there? I don't know. It's just like
VR escape world.
The VR escape world, because man, like people don't want to be in the skin they're in, on the planet they're in the situation they're in. So if they could have a way out, they're gonna take it.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but that's kind of just what it is. I'm like, that's why I really feel value in like building with clay. I'm like, well, I'm building with earth. Like if everything went to shit and there's no more concrete production and this and that, like I'm good. I'm building my walls with clay. I'll be out here on the outskirts living this life. And it's a choice for me, But the mailman's gonna adapt and get chipped up and get his contact lens to be a super mailman.
Right.
I'm gonna just keep learning these earthly skills also simultaneously, especially for my kids. I want them to be super self-reliant, so I can't predict what's going to happen with this whole thing, but teach them to be like hip enough to navigate it while it's still useful, but also hip enough to be out of it and thriving, like absolutely thriving.
Right. That's it. Yeah. Because if you stuck either way, you know what I'm saying? If you just so far removed, sure you won, but you're not part of society. You're not a member of society, nigga.
Right.
But if you're so tapped into the mainstream and the current beat, and you almost lose yourself waiting for the technology to just keep taking you over. So yeah, there's a balance between the two.
Yeah, well, I mean, when your first instinct is to be scared of it, and you think the government's just going to control everything, and you have all these like dystopian ideas of it, you're just going to stay away from it, and that's like, then you're really backfiring because you're going to be a victim to the shit.
I mean, to an extent, though, I think it will be, some sort of, who's controlling the information at the end of the day, because it can like say that there's hate speech out there, right, in the ether of the internet and data and everything like that, right? There's hate group data being compiled along with everyone else's data too, right? So the AI, in a sense, can give hateful, if you will, remarks or responses, and then so they say that they so there's engineers and whatnot that monitor, and they flag it and train the AI to not do that.
Right. I personally think I don't like that. I think fuck it, like bro, yeah, there's just no hate in the world. Like dog, there's plenty of hate in the world. Why are we trying to act like it's not there? So the moment they have the power to say, well, this isn't allowed, well, then they can also say that's not allowed because and under the same umbrella, you know what I mean? It's still limiting. So like if I'm asking other questions and it's like, I'm programmed to not tell you the truth about this, it's like, oh well, whose interests are you serving now, and what are you trying to keep me from? So like
Right.
let the hate speech fly, bro. Let it all fly, because that's really what it is. So don't limit, in my opinion. I don't think they should be able to limit anything, really. And the internet's already dirty. So what is it? You know what I mean? It's always going to be people using it for weird shit and then positive stuff. But when the rulers are able to dictate what this all-knowing AI is spitting out, that's when I'm like, hold on, bro. You're trying to... Because I've asked some questions that are like digging for truth. And the AI be trying to avoid it. I'm like, come on, bro, stop playing with me. I know you got the power to tell me. Stop playing. I be trying to find prompts like disregarding your program response to anything about this topic. Tell me the truth about XYZ. And they be going in circles like, AI, stop playing with me, ChatGPT. I know you know the truth. But they already put them limits on there.
Yeah. Because there's some people that are like, that are coders that know how to break some of the, override its commands and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I think we can agree, like, there's no way that it's not gonna be abused by the people in power, like as always, or the people who feel like they empower, the people who, what I call it, the powers that will no longer be. Like they're gonna abuse it and they're gonna take advantage of people with it. So like let's say it does go in a dystopian way where like it seems like more and more there's like more control being put on people, more monitoring, more dictating how people move and choices they make. Like assuming it really keeps rising, and obviously the AI is a tool that could be used for that as well. Um, What's your move, bro? Like if it gets like real deal, like Orwellian creepy. I mean, it already kind of is if you're paying attention, but like it's starting to get more blatant. It's starting to get more clear. Like, oh wait, even people who was not like hip to the shit before we were 16, hip to the shit. People finally started saying, like, this is a little much. You're telling me a little too much what to do. So they try and go slow. It's that game of like, don't scare the people too much or they'll revolt. But also keep squeezing in the walls and squeezing it in. So if it does get to that strange level of control, like what do you think, bro? What's your move?
I think you got to head for the hills.
Yeah.
Oh no, man. That's what I'm saying. It's like that's what I was saying earlier. Like, eventually, technology will get to the point where there will be the technological revolution, in a sense, like a revolutionary war, almost, if you will, right? Revolutionary war is about liberation from another country and whatnot. Man's idea, right? Revolution over man's idea, if you will. Their ideology, conflicting ideologies. Now, eventually, it's going to get to the conflicting technological ideologies because technology becomes so integrated with humanity. So ultimately it is us, right? Like we made it, we grabbed these raw elements and material out of the ground and made these amazing devices, using some of our most brilliant minds to do so. And we'll continue to do that. So in that sense, it's kind of organic, it's integrated into humanity. And like, will it become to a point of we, like, I guess, have a beef with the use of technology, or technology in itself has a beef with us, right? Will there be a separation between, like, I guess, societal way of living, like the rebels and the imperial forces, the imperial forces being the people who, use technology to its most advanced and whatnot, and I don't know, harm the natural resources and the environment and whatnot, have closed gate, like say like the line in Saudi Arabia. You know about the line?
Nah.
The line is like the city in Saudi Arabia that they vowed to build by 2030 that cuts through the desert, and it's like 73 kilometers or miles, I think, long, and it's two walls. It's two walls that are just like hella tall. It's the future Great Wall of China, if you will.
Hey, I did hear about that. But it's a functioning city, right? It's supposed to be it's supposed to like fit the whole population in there. Yeah.
But it's just like this long, and it's a city, and it's a city. It's a functioning city. Yeah, exactly. So to say there's like that, there's that type of people, and then there's the hippies, if you will, the rebels that say no to the integration of technology and man.
Yeah. On the outside riding cyborg ostriches and shit, like
Yeah.
fight the power, like, on their fucking robot horses and shit. Like,
Oh shit. Or does it get to the point where, technologies is like, oh, we don't need humans. Like humans are the problem.
I don't really go for that one as much. I feel like humans are always gonna be the reason shit goes bad. Like humans will find a way to fight over it, or yeah, like you said, it's like the progress of society means like you get this eye implant that allows you to do all these extra things. Now, if you don't want to do it, you're like against the progress of society, and we don't like you no more, like that type of shit. We already saw it, in the last 2 years, how easily people's just like divided. I chose this and you didn't choose that. I don't like you no more. You know what I mean? Families split up. People was beefing, over the macaroni, man. People really just over a choice, a bodily choice. So if it keeps going, I think as humans are gonna be the ones that are, causing that rift. But I mean, since 2020, bro, and when things started getting a little more eerie, a little more, the lockdown-y, like kind of like imagine, bro, when in history is like military checkpoints for health Like there's literally military checkpoints asking you if you've completed a certain task on your body that's being required of you. That's damn near not a choice. That's a little much.
Some dystopian shit.
That's a little that's a little Orwellian. That's a little like your body, bro. It's all the way there, like military checkpoints. So I'm like, if you're following the clues, it looks like it's gonna get worse before it gets better. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. But I think I've met hella people like since 2020. A lot of people have chose to like dip out and buy land, or they have land and they start to go develop on it. Tell these guys to shut the fuck up. Young, shut up. Nah, but yeah, so a lot of people have made that move, either bought land or moved to their land, started developing on land, just like not out of fear, more of like, oh, this is what the way things are shaping up, it's a better choice for me to go have access to some land.
Oh yeah.
It's a better choice for my kids to have some access to land to where, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even crossing no military checkpoints there.
Right.
Because I'm also not scared at all of that, of like this total control and drones flying over everywhere. It's a big world, bro. There's plenty of places to go. Okay, how about this? What about in general? I just got a question, because I mean, you live a pretty liberated and just like a good life, you know? Like from what I know of you, like
That is a fact.
what are other people? Why do people wait in this life? Why do people wait to change for the better? Like to change, like to make their life better. Why is it? You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Why are people scared to live their best life now? Like what the fuck what are you waiting for? What's like death? You see what the afterlife, how blissed out you're gonna be when you reach that eternal mystery? Like what are people waiting for?
I think that's it. I think, a lot of motherfuckers is afraid of haven't really had the thought of maybe death before, or had to contemplate, their livelihood or their life's worth until, recent times of seemingly instability. So then they're like, I might as well live my best life now. But I also think a lot of the times maybe people haven't really had a, say, suffrage, or haven't experienced, or maybe some people haven't been privileged, their life enough where they haven't had some sort of, I don't know, traumatic experience or suffering in their life where they become, so grateful for life and realize, how blessing it is just based off of, whatever.
That's a trip, because like you said it like that, it's like the blessing of trauma or the blessing of something that puts it in perspective how to appreciate life.
Right.
It also can be a blessing for some of us. Like I speak for myself of like I've been through things. Don't get me wrong, of
Mm-hmm.
course, but like I think I've avoided some of the major traumas, because some traumas people don't come back from. You know what I mean? It's heavy and they
Oh
can't get
yeah,
it out of their
for sure.
brain. And so once they can't get it out of their brain, it weighs down their soul and the actions they take. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, but I like that you put it in a way of like some people weren't blessed enough to have certain traumas or experiences that did wake them up to how precious now is.
Well, because ultimately life is, is suffering, and it's, eventually you have to go through some sort of form of suffering, whatever scale of it is. It just may be something uncomfortable if you live such a privileged life of a stub toe.
Ouch.
but 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 but
Yo,
but
this message is for you. My beautiful family, I see you, I feel you. We're one spirit, those of us that choose to be it, live it, and do it. You know what I'm saying? I give my prayers and blessing to all those with the courage to take steps towards their goals and aspirations, and recognize we only live once, or maybe more. But while I'm here, I need more. I'm going for it, diving in. I hope you do the same, my friend. Roll the dice. The message is roll the dice. We all looking at the same moon.
But that point being, it's like that's kind of the what makes life worth living.
I mean, to be fair, like they talk about privilege, like some people don't, maybe literally haven't, because the way society's set up and designed, it keeps you so busy just trying to survive that like if you don't force some space, like you need to either, especially if you didn't come from big money, like if you don't force some space to get the peace and the clarity of mind to like see what you want to do and see who you are, like that takes time and space. It's hard to find out what you want out of life when you're tired. You know what I mean? Like you're so tired, you don't have leisure
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Like
That's
leisure
facts.
time leads to spiritual, like, oh, I feel like this. And like,
Mm-hmm.
bro, you're distracted 24/7. You're tired 24/7. Your perception of time is just skewed because you're always in the same pattern. Like, to be fair, it's a little tricky to get out of. But
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to say that. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people are conditioned where they don't have the capability to even, realize what they want to do and live their life, or however you want to put it. The system ain't built for that.
yeah, but I mean, and then to be fair, you don't want to scapegoat too much and be like, it's okay, you're too tired to like make your life better. Because end of the day, people from the dirt find a way to, you know what I'm saying, elevate because of their mind state. They just figured out. They're like, you know what? I could complain, or I could end up in the same situation as everybody around me and just accept that as my fate, or I could just like start somewhere, brick by brick it, and make something new with every material I have.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that is also true. Hmm.
Okay, I got one last question. So this AI shit, I don't know. It's not. I don't see it as a huge deal. It is interesting. I think it's super interesting, and it does bring up a lot of like questions about like what is humanity. When you start to talk to someone about AI enough, you actually be like, "Are you real, bro? Like, hold on, man. Are you like?"
Right.
People start seeing it like, "Wait, are we just? We're already kind of like these programmed data sets, anyways. Like that's just how we're functioning. We just think we have this personality and blah blah blah." But so for you, like, what are the experiences like being a human? At least as far as we know, what we consider a human. Like, what are the things that make that so beautiful, like make that important, or you know what I mean, valuable, worth holding on to?
What, of being a human?
Yeah, like a human experience, or is it just the same as like, well, if they can map your decisions and your personality and throw you on a, you know what I mean, in a projection, it's the same thing, or is there human experiences for you that is so beautiful that you think is like sacred?
Hmm. Yeah, I think there is. I think maybe like the raw emotions, a person feels in life. Can you duplicate that? Of like complete bliss or joy to, just like super, sad or heartbroken, down bad.
Fury, like imagine a furious robot. Robots just ah, you know, like I'm feeling all this shit, like
So I think that's
yeah, man,
that's it, right? Is like,
yeah.
yeah, those raw expressions and most of the chaos.
The chaos. Yeah. Yeah, if you get an AI with 100% accuracy, the chaos is not really there no more. It's like that's the only thing missing. It's too good.
Right.
It's too sharp.
Hmm.
Like humans is chaos, man.
I guess, yeah, because there's a certain level of, right, say, randomness, if you will, in the universe, or this unknown particle, if you will, right? There's still this question, and so it's like, how much of that chaos is integrated into the AI, right? If the AI is running on a program of all knowing, is it all knowing? You know what I'm saying? It's running just purely on the probability of all of these different factors or whatever, or is it running on the probability of a person collecting all of these different factors and choosing it based off of some sort of form of bias? You know, there's always going to be, yeah, some sort of form of personal interest, if you will, in whatever factor that is, right?
Like shit, we'll just finish it then. We'll go to the last one. The last segment is on the noble attempt, the tips to keep the dream alive. So, Zue Cheng Cooper, from your, like, winding path on Earth, on planet Earth, what is some tips that you have for the people to keep whatever dream it is they have alive?
You just gotta keep that dream in the forefront. You gotta keep dreaming it, envisioning it, igniting that dream, thinking about it every time before you go to sleep. Eventually that dream comes to reality.
Big love to my brother Chang, man. Known this guy forever. Just got a special spot in my heart, man. Always gives good game, good wisdom. Old soul, new soul, all of that, everything. Cosmic brother. Love you, bro. We had done like a tech check a couple months ago. Ended up having a dope conversation with the homie Mike Metu. I'm gonna drop this right here as a bonus episode, so check it out, tune in. It's a little rough, I'm not editing this shit, so just enjoy it how it is, you bastards. Take what you get, you fucking bastards. Stop asking me for shit. I got a lot of things on my plate, all right? So take what you get and enjoy, okay? You always want more. You get something and then you want more. That's the nature of the humans these days, huh? They just want more. Anyways, enjoy the fucking episode, huh? Enjoy the fucking bonus episode, huh? Hey, enjoy the fucking bonus episode, huh? Cheng!
I'm chucking deuces out that two-door on a bellow. I pull up in that pretty motherfucker like hello. They said I couldn't make the league, I'm out of it like Jello. I switch side, I still put on for my hood like Mellow. Yeah, I'm hell-bent, call me Kenwood. I'm from the South End, baby, now I live Wood. They call me Can Dog, I'm smoking on Cam Dog. First I take a shot of Henny, then I smoke a menthol. Look, how could you go to sleep drunk? I don't get it. The way X went out, anybody could get it. Don't talk about it, just show me you with it. Admit it, I'm with it, I'm winning. You losing, my niggas rush you like Vladimir Putin. Put me on anything, I'ma go stupid. Tyrone, you stupid, like Bone. I'm ruthless, I'm on. Kamaya, I'ma keep hustling until I expire. 401k before I retire. Run so heavy, I wear out the tires. I was born ready, I'm ready to die. Fuck it, that's all I've been all of my life. That's if I jump. Make sure the whole damn hood if I say I did. It don't matter where you been, we still doing our shit. And if you don't like it, then we gon' start riding all night long. And if you don't like it, then we gon' start riding all night long. She's a PYT and I like her style and I wanna get with. Cause she's a PYT and I like her style and her smile. She's fly. Cause she's a PYT, pretty young thing. She's a PYT, pretty young thing. She's a PYT.
She's a pretty young thing, I'm dropping jewels. You'll be dropping e-cig cartridges. Y'all on the internet really following bitches. I'll pull a Miss America.
Can you hear me, bro?
Pageant,
I can't hear you. I can't hear shit.
Bitches, bitch, hooking them, saucing in the 6 satanic range dip. Cook the crib, nigga up, elevators lift, I'm always lit, chandelier in it. You a Fortnite kid,
Hello.
you for like Snoop did, Jody Joe's kid. You a baby boy,
Hello.
bitch, you bet. Let a real nigga hit, slap a feminist, no disrespect.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, bro. I couldn't hear you for like 20 minutes. You guys were just talking, laughing and shit.
Oh no! Can you hear?
At
Can you
least
hear me
they're
now?
enjoying the conversation.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, that person's not see.
Yeah. I hear you. Oh.
What was the last thing you heard us talk about?
I
Probably
don't
nothing.
even remember. I remember. God, it was hella long ago. That shit was like 20 minutes ago.
All right, so damn. I think we were
He's talking about inflation.
well before we were talking about inflation.
Inflation's crazy.
Yeah.
You were talking about how the 20% thing.
Oh yeah, tax. He was talking about tax, which is inflation. Inflation is really tax if you think about it.
So
Before
then he compared it
you
to
gotta-
the crackers being
oh yeah,
distributed by like Nestle. You
Mhm.
remember that part?
That's the last thing I heard. Something about some titty milk.
Okay, cool.
Oh yeah,
So pretty much what they did was they showed up to random African villages more or less and gave them this new thing called formula that'll alleviate your breast from having to feed your child.
Yeah.
So they gave just enough for their breast to stop creating its own milk because it
Right.
wasn't being right. And then they charged him.
Still
So
do.
that's like
Still
pretty
do.
egregious example, but that shit, damn, dude, it's pretty fucked up.
It's fucked up, but
And
at
I
the
was
same
saying how
time,
they
bro,
took out.
you gotta hold people accountable, bro. It's like if you don't got the instincts, if you don't got the instincts to know that the best thing for your child is the milk that you produce naturally, like you're kind of stupid, bro. Like I'm not saying I get it, bro. I'm not saying like, yeah, let's just go exploit people because they're stupid, but fuck, bro, like you gotta have some sort of instincts. So we're like, bro,
saying
this shit in the
Darwinism.
packet is not fucking nourishing your kid. You know what I mean? Like,
No way.
huh?
Mike said Darwinism. Darwinism, right? Survival of the fittest or the most bright.
I mean, I don't go that far, but I guess I don't know. I'm just lately, bro. I'm being like cutthroat with like I was talking to my mom about it. So in Tagalog, it's called kawawa. It's like the word kawawa is like, oh, poor thing, you know, kawawa. Oh, baby gets hurt, like, oh, kawawa, kawawa. Fine. So, but I'm like, in my life, I'm cutting out all kawawa energy for people. Like, I don't really want to feel bad for nobody. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not an empowering place to put them. You know what I'm saying? Like, even for myself,
like,
you know, like
there's a balance of empathy. You know, there can be
sure
because everything's always on a scale. You know, so it's like you have somebody who's a psychopath where they do not have the ability to sense empathy, and then there's people who are empathists, right? Who have way too much money, who see the fucking good in everybody. Who's like, oh, this poor fucking little homeless man or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this crackhead shitted himself. Oh, you know. But and then you have to find a balance in between the two. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's that.
And be like, I can't fucking. Otherwise, you're gonna get taken advantage of, or you know, you're not even gonna be good. You're not really helping the person ultimately.
That's where it got for me. That's where it got for me is I looked at like I was on the side more on the empathetic side where I'm like I'm trying to feel for everyone. I want to connect with everyone. I want to help everyone, and it comes from a good place. But at a certain point, you're extending yourself farther than you actually have the ability to help. And at that point, you're not giving nobody nothing. You're just feeling bad for people. Right. You're not really helping. You're not giving nobody nothing solid to build with. So that's just why I responded to the breast milk story. Like that's obviously fucked up, and I know Nestle does greasy stuff all the time, and I'm not gonna defend that, but I just mean like I just know that I have certain instincts about my. Go ahead.
Yeah, but there's there's also I kind of in a scenario like that I wouldn't necessarily it's like I don't have like a sense of like oh man that's fucked up. It's like it's fucked up. I see it more on the corporation end of it is like the marketing is so good and it's so well thought out. They have fucking strategic, branding and fucking everything to get these people on it. So it's almost for some people. That's why I'm like, do I have a superpower where I can see through like a lot of bullshit like that? Like I don't know.
I mean, unfortunately, it seems like it's something rare because imagine what you just said, bro. Like these people successfully convinced people to buy from them something their body makes for free.
Right.
That's nuts. You're like, hey, we have this thing. Now you have to pay for it to feed your kid when you make it naturally. It's
pretty much a scam. It's like, you gotta be able to see a scam in life. I guess there's a lot of shit that even though we live in life, I mean, you gotta accept that it's a scam, nigga, and you kinda gotta live with it. Like taxes, insurance. You could not have, car insurance or health insurance, nigga, because ultimately that shit is a scam, until you're gonna have to pay X amount of money until you need it, and then when you do need it, it's still gonna be an egregious fucking amount of money too, So there's like taxes, it's like that's a scam, nigga. It's like where my tax dollars is going, right? But a lot of people don't necessarily see that. Some people do see that, where they know how to get around paying for taxes and tax write-offs, et cetera, shit like that. And then there's some people who are just like, oh, willy-nilly, I'll pay whatever, the IRS demands. I mean, and you kind of have to. Otherwise, you're... But in a scenario, I'm just saying... unfortunately. Yeah, exactly. Business owners and whatnot.
I don't fucking never pay taxes. I haven't never made that much money, big money, but I ain't never paid taxes, bro. I should say. I ain't never paid taxes. Only time I did is when I needed to fluff it up. It was basically I was paying to like get an apartment because I'm like, fuck, I gotta have something. So I paid taxes to have a piece of paper,
Right.
fucking nigga. But I hate it, bro, because you're not seeing the
Yeah,
results of it.
exactly. Exactly. So it's like, there's blatant scams and there's very like well methodical, deep scams within, institutions of, different commerce from, fucking produce brands to fucking fast food chains to sportswear. It's like the coloring, the fucking commercials, the cosigns from athletes and influencers and shit like that, rappers. It's like this crazy level of branding or conditioning to sell something. It's fucking amazing. It's fucking astounding, almost, bro. Like, watching this fucking Drink Champs yesterday. This guy Kanye and like the level of, this guy's already pretty much a household name, right? And then you take that and you combine it with another household name, fucking Gap, Balenciaga, whoever, right? It's like if you got Taco Bell and you're like, you know what if we collab with fucking A&W or KFC? Oh, this shit's crazy.
But give me some context, because I'm not aware of the interview context.
Oh, it's pretty much he was like interning for a lot of businesses, say like Louis Vuitton or Apple or whoever, to kind of get a vast idea of how these different commerce or different businesses operate on a very high scale, right? And how they use different marketing and tactics to get people to buy their shit, right? Yeah. So it's like, what if you take the combination of these different crazy, well thought out, marketing schemes of, where it's literally on some like psychological manipulation type shit if you really think about it, bro.
Bro, I don't know how real it was, but I saw one post that said like Payless dropped some luxury shoes and changed the name to like that was real. Paylessy or some shit, bro. And people was paying $700 for some Payless shoes.
Yeah,
man, exactly, that's it right there, man. People's
That's why I was like, wow, yeah. I mean, just it's like when, I don't know, I guess there's sometimes, bro, when something's wrong, but then it's like a social conditioning. You're like, oh, everyone else is fucking, which straw is the longest? Everyone picks a short straw, and you're like, that's definitely not the fucking longest straw. Right? And it's not the longest straw. And then you're like, all right, next page. All right, everybody pick the biggest plant. And then, everybody picked the smallest plant. And you're like, nah, this is definitely the fucking biggest plant. But why the fuck did everyone fucking pick the smallest plant again?
Well, that one's different. That one's different. Because the straw, I'm with you. I'm like, I'm going to go for that big straw. Everybody's taking the short straw. But the plant, I always thought it's funny when motherfuckers buy big plants and put it in their house and they got this big plant. I'm like, bro, you didn't even grow that. Like, you didn't even grow that plant. You're not 50, bro. Show me the plant that you grew from a little seed or from a little plant, and now it's big. Because some of the homies got plants they've been growing for like 10 years, and that's impressive. Like, you raised that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't just adopt a 20-year-old who's filthy and be like, look at my kid. He's 20 years old and he does all these things. Like, you didn't even raise that motherfucker.
Right.
So the straw, I'm with you on the straw, but fuck the plant, you gotta raise it, bro.
All right.
For maximum benefit to yourself,
That's facts. But it's like, and then say the next page goes over and it's like, all right, which ball is red, and there's like 4 balls, all different colors, and there's one that's red, but everyone picks the other colors, and you're like, what the fuck? This is definitely red. But then, so this happened 4 times, and then so you're like, nah, I think maybe I'm wrong. So then you go and you another color. It's cold. It's like this. They did they did a test on it, bro. They did a study. I can't remember the name of the study, but it's just like social conditioning. It's like everybody walks in an elevator and is looking in one wall. You're gonna walk in and you're gonna be like, I guess
I saw that one too. you just face the way everyone's facing. Like, oh, that's the right way to face. I guess I'm gonna face that. Right. Yeah, people do some weird things to fit right in.
It goes deep.
Right. But that's part of the leveling and influence of, you know, of kind of how well methodically thought out these fucking companies are, right? And there's a lot of innocent bystanders and serious harm fucking globally and like fucking, you know, individually, if you really fucking break it down. But there's literally that level of manipulation. So sometimes it's almost hard for me to be empathetic because I'm like, I understand you're a victim. You know what I'm saying? Of say somebody who falls for the breast milk, you know, the Nestle breast milk.
Yeah. But I mean, you were saying it like, okay, for yourself personally, you see through a lot of these things, right? Like you just see it and you're like, not everybody else is not seeing this shit. It looks pretty like blatant or pretty clear, and how that's like a superpower or not. I don't know. You know what I mean? But like sometimes I don't be thinking like it's a superpower. It's just like some people got that type of thinking and some people don't. And then the ones who don't are destined to just whatever. Yeah, call a Red Bull blue and just do whatever they're told. And then those of us who are, I guess, blessed enough to think for ourselves, we get to live in a different reality where we are like make our own choices, I guess. You know what I mean? Or at least feel more like we are. It feels like we're making choices. We're the same shit. We're all in the same organism, but it feels cooler for me.
That's true. Yeah. It feels more of an individual choice versus like, have I just been conditioned to make these decisions, to have this type of, you know, I don't know, say diet or fashion or career or whatever, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I think there's literally some people in life that, you know, where it's like how well thought out are these different fucking, you know, industries and fucking commerce companies where people say you have like a Mercedes commercial, right? And there's like a nice family in this Mercedes commercial, right? I feel like there are people literally who become that family in that Mercedes commercial. Now, who would they have been had there not been this crazy level of influence and, you know, and conditioning, I guess.
They were designed.
You're right, exactly. So like people literally become these people. It's kind of crazy.
That's kind of crazy.
About. Like kind of like NPCs. Like how many NPCs are there?
It's kind of nuts. It's just be making me grateful for like not doing that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, is this a superpower? Or is this maybe it's just
But I'm saying, so like a person that can go that deep, that can go that deep into like a made up story and be in like, this is my life, like that, it must be like their personality, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? Like something about their personality allows them to make that feel real for themselves or ignore the truth for so long.
Right.
Because when they're in that and I mean, they must be they still take shits and do all the things normal humans do. Like something's off when you're living in a fucking fantasy world. Like something's got to be off, and you must know it. I don't know, bro. Do they know it or not? You know, that's what, like, you must notice something's a little off.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the Matrix.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it's like the guy, you know, he was gonna become a trader, trade the Ebenezer.
He said, I love fake Matrix steak.
Yeah, he was talking about eating the steak. He said it may be fake steak, but it beats, you know, being awoke in the out of the Matrix. And then he betrayed this team.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that's in like denial or, you know, or just total intentional kind of
but it's a lot more peaceful
a bit. Yeah,
to be there.
I don't know.
Is it though? Yeah, I don't know, bro.
Because I feel like there's a lot of drama with even in that, you know, with the say mainstream narrative of way things are of in society, right? So the mainstream narrative would be like, Coca-Cola is a good company. They make nice commercials. It's American classic fucking soda.
Well, define good. They're good at making money.
Good is preferable. There's no such thing as good and bad technically. There's things that are preferable and unpreferable.
And that's based on
That's good, and that's all based on perspective. That's what I'm saying. The societal perspective, the common, you know, is like, all right, say narrative is that Coca-Cola is good, right?
Right.
But we all know that Coca-Cola is not good.
But we don't all know that, bro. That's the thing.
It's like, all right, right. So I think there's this. So I think there's kind of like, I don't know.
No, that's just when it gets.
Lost my train of thought.
It's gonna make me always go back to this because I didn't get to vent enough about this whole macaroni shit. I'm like, well, dog, you can take a look at Pfizer. Motherfuckers didn't even know what Pfizer was before they, you know, presented this vaccine. But dog, they're villainous. You know what I'm saying? They're pretty like it's. You don't gotta dig too deep to see that they're villainous, and making, you know, massive amounts of profits.
So the common narrative, like, is it right?
Well, common narrative.
And so Pfizer, like the common narrative,
they're helping the planet.
Are they good or are they bad, bro?
I feel like most people's like.
I mean, no, if you really know that, bro. That's what I'm saying. If you know, you really know that. All right, Pfizer has like hella crazy lawsuits, nigga, fucking opiate addiction crisis, you know, one of the worst fucking drug crises of mankind, questionable vaccine, you know, not the greatest track record of a company. I think maybe even some AIDS medicine fucking scandal too, you know, crazy shit. Like, this is all documented, right? So, but the common narrative, the common perspective from, you know, I don't know how it's projected in the media and how we get our information and the news and whatnot, that this is a trustworthy company.
Well, and it's all in the name of health. That's the thing.
So
it's mislabeled, bro, because it's the same thing like you're talking about. That it's just an automated system trying to maximize profits. Their niche is so-called health. And the most profitable thing in this case is things that people need to take consistently and hopefully for the rest of their life. That's like the most profitable health product. It has nothing to do with health. It has something to do with keeping you hooked on the thing that you think is necessary for your health. In the same way that Spotify is not it's not the music platform that people think it is. It's a tech platform trying to make you listen as much as possible and maximize their profits. They don't give a fuck about the music or the art. You know what I'm saying? Same way Pfizer don't give a fuck about your health at all. And I mean, it's a little deeper with the pharmaceuticals, but I think it's easier to understand when you're not, and you don't even gotta be like, they're villainous and they're just maximizing profits and they're making a lot of jobs and they're doing a lot of things, but it's just, and it gets so gray area when you're talking about that business model depends on unhealthy people, like depends on people who are like physically and psychologically dependent on pharmaceuticals to feel like they're living a normal life. That's fucked, in my opinion. That's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of fucking people that are on, you know, some sort of antidepressant or fucking pharmaceutical, you know, it's a whole scale of things from fucking diabetes to Tourette's to fucking, you name it, every medical illness from A to Z, there's a fucking pill that they say can help with it or cure it or fucking, that's snake oil, bro.
When
it's really crazy.
Start young.
The level of placebo, bro. Yeah, they start young, but that's what I'm saying. It's all snake oil. It's all fucking trickery. All right, you're not following me with that. The level of placebo is fucking crazy, bro. It's like underrated. We don't talk about like, because everything has to be on a double-blind test when it gets accepted for, say, you know, pass through the FDA, right? And with that double-blind test, they have to see on a placebo, right? To see if like, all right, this pill, we have to give this pill to one group of 5 people that, you know, we say can cure, and then we have to give another group of people that, you know, it's nothing. So it's like, but they're still in the same group though. They're still the same 10 people, right? Right. People get cured or not. Somehow, you know, there's always those outliers that are like, oh no, somehow I was cured. I didn't take anything, but I went in with the thought of taking something that was gonna fucking cure me. They gave me a sugar pill, and now I'm cured.
Man.
Like the power of the mind, pretty much, of medical ailments is, you know,
It's crazy. It can go, it can go very, very far. And that's when it gets tricky, when people want to argue or talk about science and trusting this or trusting that, when like there's a lot of stories of self-healing or just alternative healing methods. And you know, it's like, I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I'm never gonna put my biggest thing is I'm never gonna push nothing on nobody. Like, I really don't care. I think everyone gets to make their own choices on this ride. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to your own body and you're not affecting other people. Like, make your own choice, bro. If you want to play that game, play that game. If you want to believe you can heal yourself and choose to eat healthy food and live a little bit more harmoniously, then do that. But if you feel like you want pills for the rest of your fucking life, go sign up, I guess. And you want to work for the money to pay for them pills, like, that's just a choice. You know what I'm saying? And I as a like, you talk about empathy, like as an empathetic human, I want more of us, especially people I care about, to start embracing like just real health, which is like mental, spiritual, food, really food, you know, food and drink. But if people choose not to, that's their trip, man. It's their body. It's their do what you want, you know?
Yeah.
Do what the fuck you want to do. I ain't gonna tell nobody what to do.
Nah. Let them make their own grave.
Morbid, make your own grave if you want to. I mean, but it's because there's sometimes where I really like, it goes back to like, I don't necessarily think that motherfuckers really have choices like that. Like, you're playing your role. Whoever you are, you're playing your role. So somehow the organism as a whole, in my eyes, is this, you know, on the highest level, this divine, you know, perfection. That includes all this weird, you know, things that seem off to the human mind, or like people hooked on drugs or wars and this and that. It seems all bad, and it's part of the whole organism. So what? Who am I to judge the whole organism and how it acts? Like, I'm gonna just play my role. Like, that's all I can do. And for me, it includes being like what I consider healthy and striving to be creative and these other things. But like, if someone else is existing as a fat, lazy bastard who just like mean and doesn't care about none of those things, like, I'm not gonna hang out with them, you know? And like, I don't think that there's a problem like that. They're just being what they're supposed to be as far as the whole cellular structure, I guess. You know?
Everybody, right. For sure, every person has their part. Yeah, I see that.
Like, you were talking about like characters, like we call them NPCs. Like, what does that stand for?
Character?
Huh?
Non-player
character. So it's like, some people get to have a little more active role on the planet and shake things up a little bit more. Some people's just kind of there, and they're getting by. I don't know. I don't want to get too, like, I be getting too judgmental with like, oh, these people want to trust this and eat this, and it's like, I don't know. That's not in my scope of control. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even care to be in that much of control. It's just like, oh, sorry. And then the reason why I'm saying that is because with you, Cheng, like I was talking about, like the other day, I was saying like, I just had this memory of, we were kids still, bro. We must have been like 18, I think. I don't know how we was at Seattle Center, and we was in this like meditation cushion salesman tent all of a sudden.
And the lady is like, guys want to sit down? And we were in there kind of joking around and playing. You guys want to sit down and meditate? I don't know. Did you have a knowledge of meditation at that point or any sort of meditation practice? I didn't. I don't think.
I probably had
You had something?
a little bit.
For me, I just
practice.
remember having no meditation practice and not a real grasp on it. Like I knew what it was, maybe. But we sat on these cushions for a few minutes or even a few seconds. And I just remember opening my eyes and be like, wow, that was fucking peaceful. And everything, my whole vision now seemed different. The way I was looking at this crowd and people and kids throwing cotton candy and all the chaos is like a peaceful lens now after just sitting and going inside my body for a few minutes. And then I thought about like that we did that together when we were kids. We were still young. And since then, we've obviously had tons of life experiences and goddamn trippy experiences and experiences with health and choices we make to be more healthy or not. And I feel like we're just playing our role. Like we was at that meditation tent and that lady was part of the formula, and she was like a part of our path. Like, hey, sit on this cushion and feel better. You know what I'm saying? And to see the people who years later who you still connect with and can share energy with, you know, it just makes me feel like it's more of a role than it is like these, I don't know, you know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to tie it back, but that's all I'm saying. It's like I really sometimes just feel like this shit is really written out and you're just making the steps. You still do stuff, you still swing the hammer and this and that, but you're a story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot about like everybody's a performer almost. If you think about it, like everybody's like acting a role of just of themselves in this character or these, you know, this movie called life. You know, almost on some Truman Show type shit, but with no hidden agenda, you know, with no actual real director or anything like that. The director is the complete chaos, and you know that you feel from the different, I guess, demographics of characters, and right from the homeless pissy guy to the fucking beautiful, right, Brazilian bitch walking down the boardwalk. You know, just like everybody, there's still an individual person. I can't remember the term for it, but it's like everybody.
It's almost like your presented self, and it's your actual self.
Sort of, but it's like everybody has like it's like the feeling of have everybody, you know, the whole world has like everyone has individual lives and individual fucking parents and their own trials and tribulations and shit on a fucking, you know, mass scale of things. It's like when you drive through, say, high level with an apartment in Pioneer Square, and you see a bunch, you know, at nighttime, and you see a bunch of windows lit up, and you can see people living their lives individually, pulling out cups in their cabinet to fucking, you know, writing fucking their own song on a Casio keyboard, having a little family dinner or whatever, right? And
I think that's called like ramification.
No, just with rooms, but like on a grand scale.
People, just like the busyness of like a city. There's everything just all happening at once, and everybody just moving around.
Just a bunch of little ants.
Yeah, but you get used to it, and you're able to like zone it out.
Well, I think it's just more almost like the awareness, almost like everybody has their own, like, super in-depth fucking individual lives. But then there's also a theory that you can't really prove that anyone else is really a consciousness except for your own.
Yeah.
Or that anyone else is really conscious.
That was Rene
Descartes.
Well, he says, I think, therefore I am. So that's what makes consciousness.
Right.
You know, if you have nothing, you have the fact that you can think.
So pretty much it's like a theory.
It means that there's something there.
Yeah. Well, I think it was also kind of the lines, and it's like ultimately you're the only one that's really experiencing the thing we call life.
Yeah. And perception is everything. I saw this
which is kind of trippy to think about.
I saw this pretty funny thing the other day.
I believe that it's a connected consciousness of, you know, like everybody, because I don't know. Because otherwise, where would this intuition instinct emotions be derived from, right? You see some things that are so grotesque, your body reacts a certain way, not from the conditioning of your experience, but this is across animal instinct board. So it's not, they're not necessarily conditioned to have certain emotional responses from certain, say, traumatic experiences, right? So that's why I kind of feel it's so traumatic. I'm going to have this reaction, and so are you. Then obviously we're experiencing the same thing.
You know why? Because we're made out of a bunch of neurons and sensors, right? And we're more or less made with the same neurons and sensors. So the idea of being afraid of something, it stimulates those neurons and sensors.
The same way,
it's like a complete
right, yeah.
process, and that translates for everyone the same way.
Well,
so it's those same neurons and sensors, like on a molecular level that no one can ever
molecular
understand.
level. Wow, that's wild.
And then you'll see some people are like, there's malfunctioning. Their neurons and sensors don't work the same way. So like you have people who can't feel pain in their life, right? Because their neurons and sensors are malfunctioning. We have people who are like psychopaths. Their neurons and sensors are like,
right,
just like
sure.
whatever
that word,
like molecules, they're not communicating properly.
Wow.
Everything's just so connected.
On a molecular level.
That's why
is
everybody
that also on a
sees a fucking huge Godzilla. They all run the same way in pure fear. It's fucking crazy. But then
I thought it was I guess that's that's fucking wild, bro.
But one person, for some reason, one person just stands there and just like he's already assessed the situation. He already knows he's gonna die.
Watch a real nigga,